Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Dave Neal here, stand-up comic, and if there's nothing better than a global pandemic, it is a chance to rekindle with an X, right? 15 months into a Black Swan event across the globe, and people are like, hey, maybe things weren't too bad with J-Lo. Ben and Jen, as reported by TMZ, are hanging out in Montana together. I guess Montana's where you go when you don't want to be seen, but, we're talking two prime A-listers right here. Bennifer was the term. I don't know if you young whippersnappers, if you remember, but Bennifer stopped traffic. They greenlit movies. They were the sight to be seen. You got Jenny from the block representing New York City, Ben Affleck from the safe neighborhood of Cambridge, Massachusetts, and they brought that rivalry to the mean streets of Hollywood. So let's read this article, and then we'll see what AROD thinks about this all, and if they have any shot, and maybe we'll, hypothesize on which other former heartthrob couples could make a comeback. You know me, always shooting for love here, and why not find it? I think Ben Affleck deserves a redemption story. We'll talk about how, look, I understand. You get someone like Britney Spears, and then decades later, we're like, I think we mistreated her. I think the paparazzi was really mean. I think, we had all these issues. But then you look like, why were we so harsh on Ben Affleck? The guy's clearly struggled with addiction and had his own problems. But just because he's an A-lister doesn't mean we need to tear him down. He's a human too. All right, let's read this article by the 30-mile zone, a.k.a. TMZ. J-Lo and Ben Affleck may have crossed the friend zone because we found out they were hanging out together this past weekend. Boy, that's got to be the worst written first sentence of an article I've ever read. Ben and Jen were at the Big Sky Resort in Montana, super close to Yellowstone National Park. They were staying at the same resort and were driving around together. Ben was driving and J-Lo was riding shotgun. This is so exciting. Don't you love this is the energy we haven't seen out of Ben in years. He's got a diet. He's got a Coke Zero. He's ready to go. He's on the balls of his toes. This guy is in fight mode, and he's ready to go. And, of course, J-Lo, hasn't aged in 30 years. What's the secret? They also flew out of Montana together Sunday from Bozeman, Montana, to Los Angeles. When they arrived in L.A. at the signature terminal at LAX, they took an SUV together and drove to her house in Bel Air. All this raises the question, of course, are they back together? Well, look, I've lived in LA for 8 years. I didn't even know we had a signature terminal. Here I am going to the Southwest like an idiot. You're waiting for, Group B, and they have a signature terminal. I like to Yelp rich people things. It's kind of fun for me to do. So I Yelped the signature flight support at LAX just to see what rich people are complaining about. Let's go here to a 2-star review. If you're lucky enough to get to the parking lot, it's really small, and there's absolutely no one waiting to take your bags. Why, you ask? Because you're not that important, LOL. Oh, to be rich. Moving along. Billionaires aren't happy. These aren't billionaires and millionaires. Listen, money, I know it's hard for poor people to believe, but I don't think money is the root of happiness. I don't think it is at all. More money, more problems. Anyway, they can still find love. After sources connected to both J-Lo and Ben have told us they're just friends, they're actually been fairly close over the years since their breakup. They certainly have a lot in common. They both recently broke off their relationships. And here's a good thing about Ben Affleck. His wife, Jen, was also named Jennifer. So even if he gets the name wrong, he's still calling her Jennifer. He's like, oh, hey, Jennifer. Oh, sorry. Wrong Jennifer. She's like, I wouldn't have known the difference. J-Lo or Connelly. It was back in 2004 when the two split. We haven't known either of them to be romantically linked since. Of course, both have gone on to have other serious relationships and raise children as well. Yeah, it's kind of like if you had an old car, like you remember your old high school car? Now imagine if that car, you sold it, whatever, and then 15 years later you see it on a lot again, and you're like, I think I'm going to buy it. And then you dust it off, and you're like, hey, it kind of runs the same. Yeah, sure, the ceiling part's a little loose. It falls down and hits your head. You got to poke it back up. That's what it is, Ceiling part falls off. Just poke it back up. A source close to J-Lo told us she keeps her exes close. Just look at her relationship with Mark Anthony over the years. The source also told us she's seen Alex Rodriguez since they ended things as well, and that the two remain friends. However, it's rare that only J-Lo and one of her exes ever hung out without kids in tow. And from what we've learned, Ben and Jennifer were solo in Montana. I'd watch that porn. Solo in Montana. It's just a solo act in Bozeman. Very interesting. Let's jump forward. You know what? Okay, I'll finish the TMZ article, and then because AROD is shocked at this news, so I'll read that article and we'll discuss AROD. Look, Jennifer Lopez has been around the block for a long time, so she's obviously got history. She's got twins with Mark Anthony. She was engaged to AROD. She was also engaged to Ben Affleck. That they broke off their wedding like days before they were supposed to get married. That's how you know you're rich. The poor people out here, like we know, if you're gonna get married and you hate each other, you still get married. You paid for the flowers. You eat the cake. A source in Montana who spotted them tells TMZ they seemed like very, very much like a couple. Okay, that's the whole story. So anyway, let's move it through here. And oh boy, they were a good looking. I mean, why can't my fiance look at me the way she looks at Ben Affleck? Oh yeah, because I don't have an Oscar. So anyway, Affleck's 48, Lopez 51. They were such a hot and heavy couple. They were only together for 2 years. That surprises me. They were named Bennifer, and then 17 years later, they're finally back together. So let's see if there's any quotes we can get. The former Hollywood power couple got engaged in 2002 and starred together in 2 notorious box office bombs, Geely and Jersey Girl. They postponed their 2003 wedding just days before they were to say I do, and then officially broke up in January 2004. So yeah, Geely, let's see if I have the box office info for Geely. 15 years later, was Geely really that bad? And of course, you write an article and you're like, remember what that movie everyone hated? Was it really that bad? Spoiler, yes. 15 years later, yes, the movie was still that bad. But, you got to give them credit. They've both done some amazing projects before. Maybe it's not a good idea to star in a movie with your significant other. I don't know. Maybe that's just annoying, You're trying to have a love scene and it's like, did you pay the utility bills? And you're like, shut up, honey. Come on, we're trying to make an Oscar here. Anyway, so clearly they had the chemistry. They look at that courtside, good. Oh man, come on. For all of the young people out there that are like, they like Addison Rae on TikTok. They like so and so on Instagram. It's like, listen, this couple stopped traffic before the social media game. This was like top couple international, like short of like Princess Diana, whatever, sort of like the royal family. This was Northeastern United States royalty right here. So anyway, and then there we are with the Egyptian toes, wiki feet. Ladies, I don't know what you guys do to your feet, but the poor feet from ladies trying to fit into fashion. Her feet look crumpled together like a British guy's teeth. Like, what are we doing over here? All right, so they're on the floor. The rumors come nearly a month after J-Lo and former New York Yankee Alex Rodriguez confirmed their split, but they didn't just break up a month ago. They broke up months ago, and they kind of just like waited to see what to do. A-listers, publicity, all that. So Lopez has 13-year-old twins with ex-husband Mark Anthony, who Affleck shares 3 kids. While Affleck shares 3 kids, daughters Violet, I don't want to read their names, with ex-wife Jennifer Gardner. Affleck posted a heartfelt Instagram tribute to Gardner on Mother's Day. Well, that's nice. It seems, everyone wanted obviously Jennifer Gardner and Ben Affleck to work out, but obviously, these celebrities, the issues, they're pulled in a million directions. To be quite honest, we'll never understand their problems. And I know it's hard for people to even digest that. Their problems, I got problems. I'm working a second job at Wendy's. It's like, I get it, Samantha, you got problems too. But, there's a reason why Hollywood love stories don't always work out. There's a lot going on there. While we have no confirmation about what's really going on with the friendly exes, it's clear that J-Lo has been on Affleck's mind this past year. In January, the Justice League star recalled the intense tabloid scrutiny he and Lopez faced during their time together. So just a couple months ago, people were so effing mean about her. Sexist, racist, ugly, vicious stuff was written about her in ways that if you wrote it now, you would literally be fired for saying those things you said, Affleck said on the January 4th episode of the Hollywood Reporter's Awards Chatter podcast. Now it's like she's lionized and respected for the work she did, where she came from, what she accomplished, as well she effing should be. Good to see Ben Affleck sticking up 4 years later. I would say you have a better chance from the Bronx of ending up like Sotomayor on the Supreme Court than you do of having Jennifer Lopez's career. During the chat, Oscar winner also revealed that he and Lopez have remained friends. There's always a story of the month, and me dating Jennifer Lopez happened to be that tabloid story at the time when that business grew exponentially. I was completely humbled and blown away. So yeah, it was very, obviously saying very nice things about his ex. I thought I had a good work ethic, but I was completely humbled and blown away by what she was committed to doing day in and day out. The seriousness in which she took her work, the quiet and dedicated way she went about accomplishing her goals, and then how she would go back and redouble her efforts. She remains to this day the hardest working person I've come across in the business. She has great talent, but she has also worked very hard for her success, and I'm so happy for her that she seems at long last to be getting the credit she deserves. Wow. Ben Affleck. Big praise for J-Lo. I'm going to be following this story like a hawk. Hit the subscribe button if you want all J-Lo and Ben Affleck news. Where are you keeping the fountain of youth? Affleck didn't only commend Lopez's work ethic, he also wondered how she still looks so gorgeous nearly 20 years later. Where are you keeping the fountain of youth? Why do you look the same as you did in 2003? And it kind of looks like I'm in my 40s at best, he joked. She's the real thing. She should have been nominated. She's the real thing for Working Hustlers. He added, I keep in touch periodically with her and have a lot of respect for her. How awesome is that? She had her biggest hit movie at 50. That's effing baller. Well, so clearly Ben Affleck is really, staying in touch with J-Lo and all that she's doing, and he's got a real appreciation for her. And, maybe he got it out of his system. Maybe he's clean and sober. We don't really know, and it's not my place to speculate on someone's sobriety, but there I just did it. And we do wish the best for him. It's interesting how Ben Affleck said that J-Lo was like lionized and she, all this racist and all this crazy stuff was said about her. People would get fired for saying that in today's world. And of course, a lot has changed in 17 years. But we also have to come to terms with what people have done to Ben Affleck in his addictions. You know what I mean? So we've got just meme after meme of Ben Affleck, just like people, like as a star. Want to be rich enough so I can hold my laptop like this? Okay, that's a nice funny one. He's got his Dunkins like any reputable New Englander does. Just got to get my Dunkins and, but like, brutal. Which pick of Ben Affleck smoking are you today? And it's just like, and people say, you know what, he can handle it. Yeah, you can handle it until you can't. Of course, Ben Affleck trying to, by the way, this is a power move. Whenever you've got multiple coffees in your hand, and look at that, Dunkin' Munchkins, that's how you know you are ready to party. So clearly there's, paparazzi that just wait outside his home for like Postmates deliveries. This is what the guy has to deal with. How everyone feels after spending 48 hours with family. Yeah, it's funny, but we have to remember this is like a dad. This is somebody's dad that struggled with his own addictions. So speaking of people struggling with the news, at least one person is not happy about Bennifer. Bennifer's back, baby. At least that's how it seems. So there's a whole story here. Regardless of your personal feelings about the news, the suspected reunion, which comes 17 years after the two called off their wedding, is pretty surprising. While the former baseball player has not yet spoken publicly on the matter, a source close to him told E! News that AROD has been in a state of disbelief, unwilling to accept that he and J-Lo are no more. AROD is shocked that J-Lo has moved on. He truly thought they would be able to make it work and reconnect. The source added that AROD is so saddened over the evidence that Jen and Ben are more than just so-called friendly exes that he has been reaching out to J-Lo, trying to meet with her, and has let her know that he's upset. Well, listen, AROD, you broke up. You're allowed to be upset about your ex moving on, but there ain't much you can do about it. Clearly, she chose the Boston guy over the New York Yankee. So go Red Sox. They won another one there. What do we got here? So this is actually interesting, listen, we're not here to shame J-Lo. She's allowed to freely date and move on to different people. But this is an interesting meme. When management's having you train the new guy, but you putting the pieces together. Now, this photo is taken while J-Lo was married to Mark Anthony. Wearing a Mets hat here. And they got a photo with Alex Rodriguez, a Yankees player. And, of course, it wasn't too long after that she ended up in a relationship with Alex Rodriguez, and probably a couple years, so, not exactly overlap there. But, of course, the question remains, what will happen to Jennifer and Ben, a.k.a. Bennifer? Leave a comment and let me know what you guys think, and let me know if there's any other celebrities you'd be interested in seeing reconnect. And listen, I'm not one to normally care too much about people like getting back together or whatever, but it's very complicated now. We've got like a redemption story. What went on in 2003 that broke them up, 2004? What's changed now? Do we have a little bit of the, the hero's journey where Ben Affleck kind of came crashing back down to earth, realized his own sort of like sanity, his own like human like flaws with his own addictions, with his own sort of failed marriage? Do we have that sort of humility that's come in? Does J-Lo, reckon with the fact that she's on the back nine of her career? Which, hey, I'm not saying, like, she's had an amazing career. She's had the best movie she's ever made at the age of 50. And she was in the Super Bowl halftime show, all that jazz. So it's not to say anything bad about her. It's just saying two people, 48 and 51, whatever their ages are, do they put apart their differences and realize that they're meant to be? Or was it just a quick fling, a solo trip to Montana? We'll have to find out. I'm late for a flight. I got to get over to the Signature Airport in LAX and see if anyone will pick up my bags. All right, let me know what you guys think. Hit the subscribe button for more content. Leave a comment and like this video. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye now.